It's a humanitarian book, I would say. It talks about life as many of us don't want to live it, frankly, many, many years of unhappy times. But Arthur is going to kind of share a little bit, and then we'll have Irving and Larry talk to us. So thank you, and welcome to the show, Arthur.
Thank you very much.
You know, Arthur, a lot of people, and probably your friends also, have a lot to tell, but it takes quite a guy to take the time. How many years did it take you to complete this from the moment that you wanted to do it?
About 2 years.
2 years.
Right.
And how did this all work? Did you just talk to this gentleman, talk to Jeff Beal, and he just recorded it, or?
Yes, he came to my house. It took about 9 months to a year. He came and he recorded every day a little bit, and he took in the details and everything.
Did you cry a lot as you recorded?
I cried a lot. After
sure.
I read the book, I cried too.
I'm sure you did, but you had quite a history as a young boy, and I've always wondered, what was it inside you that made you just keep going and going and going?
In 1939, the Russian came into us, and I went to a Russian school because I lived in a very small town in Poland. The town is named Sieniewa, and I went to that. They told me to go to that school, engineering school, because there was no big schooling in our city. As I went to that Russian school, and one day I decided, I had a uniform, a railroad uniform. It was after 5-6 months, and I lived on the railroad station near Lvov, a small town near Lvov. Ravaruska was the name. And one day I decided, on a Friday night, I figured Saturday and Sunday is no school, and I live on the railroad, and I have a uniform, who's going to stop me for a ticket? You know, as I went home from that station, it took me a couple hours, and I went home. I went home, spent home in Sieniewa with my parents. I was the only son. I had 7 sisters. I was the only son, but I figured they missed me. And then on the way back, instead of coming back Monday morning, I missed the train by a couple of minutes. The train was only going once a day. And I came back to the school Tuesday. They were waiting for me already.
Who was waiting?
They were waiting, the police.
The police were waiting.
It was a Russian school, engineering school, and they were very strict. What did you do? I told them the story. I was talking to a wall. I couldn't even contact my parents by telephone about anything. There was no telephones that time in my house. They took me right away to jail, to Lvov. From Lvov they took me to Kiev. Thank God they done this, because if they wouldn't do it, I would be killed with my parents.
So what really happens here, and I don't want to use the word fate casually, but it seems like fate played a very big part in your life, didn't it?
Right.
And I'm going to switch over to your sons, and I guess we're going to go to Irving first, because, you know, Irving, you're the one that kind of got in touch with us so that we could really make this wonderful book of the month. So Irving, what's it like to be the son of a father like Arthur?
It's inspirational. The one thing you get out of this book is when you read what he's gone through, and you think of whatever problems you have any day, no matter what they are. Once you've read this book and you see what he went through and got out alive and became successful, you realize there is nothing that you have to either worry about, be afraid of, or is challenged. Nothing is impossible. Everything is possible, and it's just simply inspirational. If he could get through that alive and thrive, then my problems are meaningless, as is anybody else's.
And you know, I noticed, Irving, that, is it Irv?
Yeah, well,
Irv, I noticed that family was everything to him.
Oh, sure. Unfortunately, most of them, or virtually all of them, were wiped out.
But I meant...
Oh, no, the current family,
yes,
sure.
Because he now says...
Sure, family's everything.
I remember reading in the book where he said, yes, he lost his family from before, but he has this fantastic new family and the generations to come.
Absolutely.
So he's very thrilled. There's a lot of children.
There's kids, grandchildren. Everybody's just thrilled and excited about him, and reading the story, which they never knew existed. And once you read it, you go, oh my God.
So now what we're going to talk to Larry, his other son, who's an attorney in Hollywood, and lives in Boca. But I have to say this to you, Larry. I want to tell everybody who's out there, if you have any connections with a movie producer, and we know a lot of people live down here, a lot of people listen, this is actually sitting there vibrating. This book is vibrating, waiting to be made into a movie. It is so exciting. It's almost not possible. It's almost like a tale of make-believe that someone really is sitting here in our studio, wrote this book, and really lived this life, Larry. Don't you think that?
It's fantastic. It's unbelievable.
I mean, as an attorney, you meet a lot of interesting people. Some are stranger than fiction.
And you hear their stories from, talking about their life, whatever. And before we met this morning, I was relating one story to you, how a parent will tell their kid all kinds of stories about things they've done in their past, and kids will nod and go, and I'll relay the one story if I can. I told you, about 40 years ago, we were in upstate New York at a hotel, and the family was out and they riding horses. And my father comes up from New York City, in his three-piece suit and boots, comes out to the dude ranch or whatever, and he was supposed to be a great horseman he was, and we never believed him. Well, hops on this horse, takes it to a full gallop, 200 yards back, 200 yards forward, pops off like he's Roy Rogers, watches his hands, done. And you slowly realized, well, obviously he knew how to ride a horse, and that was a true story.